I think you just keep that.
Okay, so we know now that you guys all got together with the Padillas and you guys were all sitting together. So what was Emma's first reactions to the news of Bella
Yeah,
passing?
so she was visibly shocked and not knowing how to react at that point in time. And from that point on, I think it took a while for her to actually feel the grief, if that's a way of saying it.
Um, I can tell you it took 9 months for her to finally break down and cry. And, we've talked about this and we might expand on it some other time, but that week Bella was in the hospital, the Lord was so good to show Emma some dreams
Yeah.
and give her some visions. And, I think she held on really tight to those.
Hmm.
I'm not going to cry.
It's okay if you do. We do it all the time. So
Um,
I've been told not to hold back tears.
Yeah.
no, yes,
That's a tear podcast I just
Yeah.
did.
it's good. So I think that she held on tight. She had, I don't know how much you want me to share about it, but she had a very clear vision one night where she saw Bella walking into heaven. And she can describe that in very great detail. And it was before Bella finally went on to be in heaven. And I think the Lord just really prepared Emma's heart. And I think she just, of course, she's devastated that her friend actually did go to heaven and that she's still here. But I think
She
she
was
held on
extremely
tight.
confident
She was
where Bella was.
she was extremely confident in where Bella was, extremely worried about the two of you. I know you've talked about this on another podcast, but I know initially it was hard for you guys to be around her friends and your friends, and you just had to take off for a little while until you felt like you could do that. And during that time, she was constantly asking about both of you and always like, how are they doing? Are they okay? And I was honest with her that they just need some time before they can, come and be with all of us and our feelings too. And so that was hard for her, but she, we prayed every night and she was just always asking, and I would always update her anytime I would hear from you. But at the same time, to circle back around to your initial question, I knew that she was holding in a lot of feelings that needed to come out through tears and anger. And I'm so thankful that she was confident in where Bella was. But I also knew that she needed to be releasing emotion. And it's hard for her to do. It's hard for me to do. So I empathize with her all day long. I know how important it is to cry and get mad and to let things out, because when we don't, it can come out in destructive ways that we don't intend for it to. And so I was starting to get worried. I'm actually friends with several different therapists, and I talked to all of them. How long do I let her go before we maybe pursue counseling? Because I'm not seeing her really have a breakdown yet. And I had somebody tell me that if she makes it all the way through 1 year without really breaking down, then it's time to go to therapy. So we made it 9 months. I remember I was holding my breath. We're getting really close to
You're like,
12
yeah,
months.
here.
I really want you to have a breakdown. I want you to have a mental breakdown.
I'm like, I need you to get on your knees and fall apart because I know you need to. And, we knew the importance of that, having gone through what we had just previously walked through ourselves with all the cancer stuff. And she had that breakdown with my diagnosis. I hadn't seen her do that yet with, losing Bella. And so I knew she needed to. And so, like I said, we get to 9 months and she finally has that breakdown. And I think, okay, good. It happened before 1 year. We can expand on this, but we made it, past June 1st, which was a full year of her being without Bella. And from that June until August, like the end of August, um, by August, she was in therapy. So even though she had that breakdown, I think what I started seeing was a lot of anger. And we all know that the root of anger is grief. And, we gave her a lot of grace and tried to explain to her brother that don't take it personal, buddy, just give her some space. And I just tried to have all the conversation I could with her to let her know that that, that we were safe people to open up to. And I think what's hard about that is we can want our kids to open up all day long, but if they don't have the words, because it's like you can't put words to that kind of grief.
Mhm.
And I think that's why she struggled.
Yeah.
Because she knew why she felt this way, but it was so hard for her to explain. At some point, she started using words, and you'll remember this. She started using words like, "I just feel so heavy,"
Mm.
like just walking around with heaviness, and she didn't know what to do with it. And so then she was just angry about how heavy she felt. And
Well, and her personality is a lot like mine too. So like her understanding her feelings was a lot harder than a typical female. Like
Mhm.
it's
so
true.
because it's hard for me to understand my feelings because of not only a man but my particular personality.
She is wired a lot.
She's a
Yeah.
lot she's wired like me, so her being able to put words to that I think was a struggle. So it was a weird balance of her having such a childlike faith of like I know exactly where Bella is because of the dream she had and
Yeah.
the face she had with that, but then also on the flip side like not understanding the emotions that she was
Right. I think
feeling
it
deep
was,
down.
yeah, I
Mhm.
think it was, I know where she is, so why do I feel like this?
Yeah.
And just not understanding.
So we're like a 12-year-old girl.
Oh, I
Done.
have-
We're all done.
I have definitely figured out that I have the emotions of a teenage girl.
Yeah. I'm listening
yeah.
to them and I'm thinking, wow, like this is how we
Yeah.
feel
I
every
think,
day.
honestly, that's how grief feels.
Yeah.
And I think it doesn't matter if
Yeah.
you're 10, 11, 12, or, in your 40s. I think
Yeah.
that's just how
Well, who's in
grief
their
is.
40s? I'm definitely in my 40s.
I don't know what you speak of.
I mean, your
Um,
20s.
So you're talking about her not having the words, being able to put into words what she was feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I'm in my 40s and I had that
Mhm.
same situation where I'm using words that I have never
Trigger.
used to describe. Yeah, and I mean
The
there would be certain
triggers.
times I would say certain words,
Yeah.
and just that word would cause me to fall apart.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know, just in a feeling word or a descriptive word,
Yeah.
and it would set me back.
Mhm.
And so I couldn't. I can imagine that a little girl,
Mm.
trying to understand what I'm feeling, what this means, and that tension that Josue talked about in his part. The
Where
goodness,
they're at.
where they're at,
Mhm.
but you feel this way,
Yeah.
and that is very
And then
difficult.
learning how to live and move forward with
Yeah.
that tension.
And we're
And
still
the
still
absence
doing
is
that.
the absence is loud.
Yeah.
And this wasn't someone that Emma saw once in a while.
It's true.
This is someone she most of the time saw every day,
Yeah.
if not every day, every other day.
Mhm.
And also on the phone.
Mhm.
They video chatted, they text. I went back and looked about 5 months ago. Bella had the kids, messenger kids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they had sent me a message saying that if I didn't like go on it or use it, they were going to cancel the account. And I freaked out because all the stuff is on there and I didn't want
Yeah.
to lose it.
Yeah.
So we kind of reopened it and I started looking through some of the messages and all the things. And I laughed, I cried. It was like a 1980s love movie, it was just weird, but they're funny, they're silly, they're crying, they're all the things.
Yeah.
And
But it was interesting to see that Bella's friends were still messaging.
that's what I was getting
Yeah,
to,
her.
that they were still messaging her and Emma being one of them. And I mean, even as recent as up to when I looked at it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Emma would say, "Hi, Bella. Hi, my friend," like that. And she would send little games and little pictures. And I just got so sad. And I was just like, Lord, like, this is why, like, this doesn't make sense to me. Why these little kids have to go through this? Why they had to lose their friend and feel all these feelings and not understand. It was hard for me to read. I think I sent a few screenshots too of some of their conversations and stuff, and like how how new that she was still doing that.
Yeah.
And they still do that.
Yeah. It's incredibly touching
Yeah.
and it's incredibly heartbreaking at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's hard to fathom, but it's reality.
Yeah.
And that's the
For them, and that you and I talk about this all the time. It stinks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The fact that these
just-
kids, I mean, that's a strong words. It stinks.
It stinks a whole lot.
Yeah.
Mouth,
I know. Got such a potty mouth. It just stinks. But I also got some insight to their relationship,
Yeah.
and it was fun to see.
Mhm.
You just don't know what's going through your kid's mind at
Yeah.
8, 9
Mhm.
years old. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember being 8, 9 years old, but I just don't remember the details of it all. And it's so funny to listen to their conversations. Sometimes they didn't even make sense. But I was
They
like,
knew what they were talking
they
about.
knew what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And it was so cute. Anyways, okay. So we're going to start going down this list. Some of the points we already mentioned. And so you told us, you know, some of the signs you noticed. You guys gave yourself that 9-month deadline for her to go to counseling.
12 months.
Or 12 month.
Yeah.
She broke down at 9.
She broke down at
Yeah.
9. And okay, so did Emma ever express to you that she would like to go talk to someone?
Oh, good question.
Or was this something that you had talked to other people and
Yeah.
said, no, we're going to do this?
So I actually had been in therapy for probably a year, maybe a little longer on my own, just
Mhm.
to work through my own things.
Yeah.
I had also been
Post-cancer.
at that point and
Yeah,
going
you
to counseling.
And so she knew that we went. You know, we talk very openly about that.
Right.
And just mental health in general, we try to, you know, get rid of any of the stigma behind any
Right.
of that we grew up with. And so she knew that we went to therapy. And I think at some point, I don't know if she initially brought it up or if I did, because we so openly talk about it. But at some point, I think she started asking about going.
Mhm.
You know, and now that I'm thinking about it, I think at some point I did bring up first, hey, if you ever feel like you need to go to therapy, you can do that. You
Right.
know, you can do it now, you can do it when you're our age, but just
Mhm.
know it's really helping us. And if it's something you're interested in, please let us know. And I think actually to that point, I probably planted that seed
Mhm.
when I started thinking it might be a good idea for her. Because
Yep.
when I was in therapy, a lot of what I end up talking about is my kids and
Right.
what they're going through and what I see in them. And
Well, you're the gatekeeper of knowledge. That is what
As-
Kara said.
No, that I know. I do love that. And
Yes.
she's not wrong. I think a lot of things I was talking about and seeing and then talking about in therapy, I think my therapist too was like, she probably would benefit from therapy. And that's really all I needed to hear. And then I started planting the seeds because I didn't want to force her to go. I wanted her to want to go.
Right.
And so I just started having that open conversation of, hey, you know, your dad and I do it. So we think it's a great idea. And if you feel like you need to go sometime, let us know. And then shortly after those seeds being planted,
I think
she
there were
started
several
to ask.
I think there were several moments where she would like blow up or have some kind of emotional situation and not knowing how to handle it and Lauren really just being like, well, that would probably help to go to therapy to talk about that
Yeah.
and figure this out. And so I think it took several times
I
of
think
that
so.
before she was willing to
I think
explore it.
there are things I've learned in therapy on how to help myself and calm my nervous system and all
Oh,
of
yeah.
that.
Mhm.
And I think I started saying things like,
Mhm.
well,
You could try this to calm
you could
down.
try this, but also if you want to try therapy, she might have ideas that my therapist didn't have. You know?
Right.
Anytime you can present it as a benefit to
Yeah.
Right.
them, whoever them is,
Yes.
Yeah.
especially in this situation, Emma,
Yeah.
you know, hey, this could make you feel better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, she wants to feel better. And
Right.
so if she feels safe, you're going to go for it.
Yes. And, you know, she was so good at, you know, not being able to put feeling words to how she was feeling. Her best way of describing it was just feeling heavy. And when she started, you know, we've gone a year, right? We've gone a
Mhm.
year
Mhm.
going into July, like her 10th birthday. Yeah. She didn't, I don't know. She just heavy is what she kept telling
Yeah.
me. She kept telling me how angry she was at how heavy she felt as time went on. And so at that point, I used those words too. If you don't want to keep feeling this heavy, then I think going to therapy will help you process some of that
Mhm.
heaviness so that you can feel lighter. And so yeah, but ultimately I let her come to me and say I want to try therapy. And I reassured her, you know, not every therapist is we don't always mesh. And so
Right.
if we go try somewhere and you don't feel comfortable, tell me. We can go try somewhere else. And praise God that the first therapist we tried was recommended to me by one of my therapist friends. And she was like, she'll click with Emma. She's amazing. She's her kind of people. And she did. They absolutely clicked. And she's been in therapy almost a year now. And we've seen a ton of growth. But
What would you say? You talked about praise the Lord, so I kind of want to hit on that a minute.
sure.
Did you seek out faith-based counselors?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was important to you guys
Mhm.
to have a person of faith.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, like we've talked about this several times, not everybody that will listen to this podcast may know Jesus, right?
Right.
Ultimately, that's what we would love for them to know, because that's the hope we have to see Bella again, for Emma to see Bella again.
Yeah.
So obviously, this is the whole point of the podcast, is to lead people to Christ.
Yeah.
But would you still recommend to anybody who could find themselves in a similar situation
Mhm.
to still seek counseling, whether it's faith-based or not? Do you recommend even like the secular counseling, or do you guys just really feel strongly about the faith-based?
I mean, at the end of the day, faith-based.
At the end of the day, yeah, I would say faith-based. I think counseling is probably helpful
Mm-hmm.
in its own
I think
ways,
they all
but
have helpful tools.
even if it's a counselor that is considered a Christian counselor, people that don't know Christ can see them, and they don't make it blatantly obvious, right? So
That's
there's a way that's also a ministry for the counselor, and maybe they find Jesus through that. But I think that ultimately, yeah, we would recommend a faith-based counselor, because we believe they're going to tell us more of the truth, right?
Right. And they're going to lead us to the hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to
Lead us
lead
to
us.
hope, yeah.
They're going to lead us to that hope we have.
Mhm.
And I know that Bella and Emma were both Jesus lovers. They love
Mhm.
Jesus.
Mhm.
And I think that is why the Lord spoke to Emma
Mm.
when Bella was in the hospital,
Yeah.
and why he showed her things,
Mhm.
because he knew who she was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She knew Emma. Emma had a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
They both did. And I think that's why he was like, Emma, let me show you this.
Mhm.
I know that this isn't going to fix everything for you right now,
Yeah.
but I still want you to have this, and I want you to hold on to this. Ours is the Jeremiah 29:11.
Mhm.
Bella's seen Jesus before she went. I do. I can speak for myself. I hold on to that,
Yeah.
Mhm.
because I'm like, when I start feeling that heaviness
Mhm.
that Emma talks about, I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, but Lord, Jeremiah 29:11,
Yeah.
you said you know the plans that you have for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what are they? What are they? Can you let
Yeah.
me know? Can you let me in on the
We
secret?
just watched a church service this
Yeah.
morning that talked about us as humans, believers. We want to know that blueprint. Like, God,
Mhm.
show me your blueprint. And he's
Mhm.
like, you don't get to see my blueprint. You get to do the next thing.
Right.
Uh,
'Cause
Yeah.
that's what faith
We
is.
just heard about this.
We
We heard
did.
the same thing
The
today.
same thing
Oh,
this
wow.
morning. You
Yeah.
can recap?
Hmm?
Recap that?
No, the church that's not actually our church we went to this morning. Talks about a similar thing of like, we want to know the clear direction a lot of times, but
Mhm.
we, there's uh, a point of faith that you have to have,
Mhm.
rather than I got to know all this. It's, do I fully trust in
Right.
you?
That's
Yeah.
exactly what we
Yeah.
heard this morning.
Because
And
it's not real faith if you know everything ahead of time to make an
Mhm.
informed decision. It's like, no, trust that I have your best at heart
Mhm.
and follow me anyway.
It's
Mhm.
really, this is something I'm facing, because I want, right now, I'm like, listen, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I want to know this, and this. And God's like, oh, okay.
That's
your
good for you.
Yeah.
You
get
think
to
you
know
are
one
who?
step in front of you.
Right.
Yeah.
You just tie a shoe in the morning. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me worry about the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
Yeah.